Hello, today's 26th August is a MicroProfile technical conversation. Please help out with the minutes. Let me cue the co-host John, just in case. Okay, let me share my screen. Share. Okay, so Turan is on the call. Turan, would you like to cover the current status on MicroProfile tutorial?
Yeah. So all the chapters were delivered, and even in your local repo, we were able to generate the GitHub sites. In the MicroProfile repo, the official repo, looks like there is some permissions problem. So last time we were troubleshooting and we got stuck there. So I have the proposal that by the time, because now you don't have the permission to update this repo settings, neither I have the permissions. So troubleshooting is difficult. So I was having a proposal that by the time we resolve this permission issues, which is enabling the GitHub pages on that repo, you can publish the tutorials from your repo. You cloned it, and that fork we can use to publish the tutorial by the time we get this official site uh, configured to enable GitHub pages.
I prefer get it fixed. Otherwise, we all clone it and publish the GitHub pages from our personal repo, and then gradually the overall the MicroProfile official pages will be updated. So we'll run into all this autosync thing. I think Turan, since now is you are back to work, and also I'm back. I think we need to catch up. Just have a call and get together to have it reworked.
Sure. Sure, yeah, we can catch up and do the troubleshooting together. I have also shared some updated workflow also, where I'm enabling it in the GitHub Actions through code itself. So you can try that. I have just shared you an email and a comment for further troubleshooting steps. And if that does not work, then we may need to connect with someone who has the permissions uh, to enable these settings, because then we are totally stuck. Because yeah, until we get the permissions or access to the settings, I don't have the access, admin access to that repo. So further proceeding could not be possible without that. But yeah, we can try this by catching up tomorrow.
Uh, okay, let's discuss. Please send me an email about your availability, so we'll catch up.
Sure.
Okay, great. Thank you, Turan. Anything else you want to bring up?
Then I had also opened a marketing ticket, which is about creating a link for the tutorial page in the website, in MicroProfile website, and have also shared a blog post which is introducing MicroProfile tutorial, and that is for review.
Yeah. As you know, MicroProfile has been on holidays. Last week was the first week written, and the marketing code did not happen. There was a to-do for marketing folks to
Yeah,
look at the issues. So hopefully
sure.
can be looked at next week. Oh, next week also is Labor Day. I don't think it the meeting will not happen either next week. Maybe people will follow up offline. Yeah.
Yeah,
Sure.
we should
And I
remove
have
that from the
also,
calendar, by the way, Emily.
Sorry?
We should remove that from the calendar.
Oh, the
Mhm.
marketing call. Good
Yeah.
point. Yeah. Good point. Yeah. We have that deleted from the. Do you want to do it, John? No.
Yeah, I'm doing it now.
Thank you.
and one more point, Emily, I have also responded to your uh, request about proposal for updating the tutorial for 7.1 and coming up with more chapters for Umbrella. So please review that and also share your thoughts on that. Yeah.
Yeah. We did discuss briefly last week. I think
Okay.
also the final decision to be made in the marketing call as well. But the initial impression is that the updated spec, I think the price is too high. But anyway, that's my personal view. And the
Mhm.
marketing call will make a decision. So we have not make any decision regarding the updated tutorial proposal as yet. Yeah, we'll discuss
Sure.
the following course and then let you know. Thank you.
Yeah, we can discuss that further. No worries. Okay, thank you. That's all.
Yeah, thank you for coming to the call. Provide the update for this. I mean,
Sure.
let's connect offline and
Sure.
look at the
And
issues. Okay, thank you.
yes, yes, and then also the John has processed my invoice, and this ticket 847 in marketing, we can also close that. Yeah.
Thanks, Tarun.
Yeah, great. To close 8014
847.
847.
Yeah.
Great. Thank you, Turin.
Sure.
Anything else for the tutorial? Okay, no
No,
anything
that's
else.
all. Yeah,
Yeah,
that's all. All the
okay.
points are covered. Perfect.
Yeah, okay, great. Thank you,
Thank
Turin.
you.
Yeah. The next agenda is OSS RH and life. So the continue conversation there. From the Jakarta platform call, I have now learned in Eclipse Foundation, there's a plugin created. Is this provide the central staging plugin. Roberto, have you heard of this plugin? Roberto, you're on mute. You're talking.
Uh, no, also that's something done by Eclipse.
Yes, looks like a quite recent. And then Jakarta E is going to adopt this.
Well,
I'm wondering,
weeks ago.
sorry?
Well, no, I was looking into like 3 weeks ago. The last commit only had like 15 commits, only a single contributor.
Yes. I'm wondering whether we can take a prototype to see how it works, whether it works. I think this might be the solution from from Eclipse Foundation to the
Mm,
community.
so that still is not gonna that's still not gonna work unless well, unless you use the token from the credentials that are used by Eclipse to publish the artifacts. Because the problem right now is that, as you know, we try to release. I mean, we already fixed all the things in the palms, and you were able to release. Now, it doesn't fit up the current release scheme that we have with the staging and the approvals and all that stuff, because their new UI, only the person that have done the release, or at least the credentials that have done release, have view on the release deployments, right? So let's just say I'll do a release on MicroProfile, and then there is like 20 people that have access to that namespace. Only I can look into the deployments that I did on that namespace, right? But if you do the release, only you can see the deployments that you did. So basically, let's just say you do a release on config, I do a release on Jot. I can look on the config and you can look on Jot, but I cannot look on Jot and you cannot look on the config, even though if we have access to the same group ID and on the same namespace of IO MicroProfile. And that's the current problem, right? Because even if we don't have the staging repo as you had before, at least every time that you log into the staging repo, everyone could see what was staged on the namespace. And right now, due to their own limitation, the deployments that you do are scoped to the actual login or the actual credentials that you use to push the artifacts to central now. So yes, that might work, but the limitation is still the same, right? Everyone will still have or require to have the same token to be able to watch everybody's thing, right? Because as you know, right now everyone has its own credentials, which have access to the namespace, and that's the problem, right?
We need to define roles, right?
No, there is. So it's very basic. So it doesn't allow you to define roles. It doesn't allow you to define anything. So it's just like, for instance, if you want, I'm not sure how it is right now. That was like a couple of months ago. I mean, they're usually very slow on new things, right? So for instance, if you want to add someone to be able to have permissions on a namespace, you basically have to open a Jira issue and say, please give permissions to this particular email. And then when you log in with your central credentials to Maven Central, then you see that namespace into the namespace that you can manage, right? So managing the namespace, you can actually share between multiple users, but deployments are scoped to the user that actually did the deployment. Even as I gave the example, even if you and I have the same permissions to the namespace of MicroProfile, and I do a release on the MicroProfile namespace, the deployment that I did is scoped to my credentials and not yours. So if you log in, for instance, you can go and you can even delete the namespace, right? Well, probably not cannot delete, but you can do like changes on namespace, but you cannot see the deployments that I did, even if they are on the same namespace, which is like super weird.
Yeah, that's what I mean. These actions need to be scoped to a role where we can
I'm wondering
be
whether
assigned to.
we should get together with this person. What's his name? Sebastian, to clarify
When you're saying a role, are you saying like something like internal to us? Because Central doesn't support that at the moment.
That was my misunderstanding. I thought this is Eclipse infrastructure that is used as a staging repo and not the infrastructure of Sonatype.
No. So we were always using Sonatype infrastructure to do the releases. I mean, the only thing that we were using from Eclipse was the CI environment, right? But the CI environment will just do the build and then push straight to central, and that's it. And then after it pushed it to central, when they had the old open source repository, it will push to a staging repo in central that you will just log in, and then you could just approve or drop the repository. And when you did the approval, that's where things were going to be propagated to Maven Central, which is public, right? But once when they removed the old one, they didn't propagate that way of doing things. I mean, now you have like a new UI. There is no staging repo concept anymore. There is this issue of deployments, and on their plugin you can say, hey, I want to approve deployment, but deployments do not show up unless you are the user that actually pushed the deployment. So as an example, if you try to push a release through our CI because it's using Eclipse credentials because of the signing keys and also so on and so forth, then we're not able to actually approve the deployment to push it to central because we have to log in with Eclipse credentials on central to be able to see those deployments, right? That's a problem. But let's just say if I go and do the release from my own local box, I mean, I can't because I don't have the signing keys, but let's just say I have them. If I do the release and from my local box, then I could do the approval because then I'm able to see deployments that I did. So I mean, there are multiple issues open about people complaining because it just broke a lot of things and people still trying to navigate.
But the solution of this could be we have some repo that we declare as our project's staging repo, where we be able to see what we are doing as a group with at least read access or even write access. Write access might not make sense, but read access for all the others, so everybody can check that state that is deployed there. And then we can forward it to the staging of Sonatype with a pipeline and finish it, pushing it to Maven Central. But we could do our check and approval on our own infrastructure before when that is implemented.
Yes, that can be done, but I mean, it will require like a huge adjustment on. I mean, we were just looking for a quick solution, right? Without having to change a lot.
But when we use that plugin and all the logic is integrated in that plugin, then it will be later only an update of that plugin when that can be directly on Sonatype infrastructure.
Yeah, I mean, so quite frankly, I mean, we on Quercus and SmallerEye and a lot of other affiliate projects, we stopped doing all of these things completely. Because we start to find issues. I can post you like a blog post that we did explaining all the security problems that these things have, right? So
that
as an
would be
example,
nice.
Yeah. So I'll just give you like a quick example, right? So we don't know this plugin, right? And this plugin has access to the environment variables of the system, right? So you can push the environment variables with password, signing keys, and whatever to who knows where, right? So to make like a very simple explanation, what we actually did was we and that's also true. I mean, this is not only for the release plugin. I mean, let's just say when you're running tests and you're running tests on your CI pipeline, you don't know what you're running over there. And and when you're building the code and then running the test, right? The test has also access to your CI environment, which can also go and pick up environment variables, pick up like signing keys and a lot of that stuff, right? So what we actually did was we actually split the process of building what we want to release with the signing and the upload, meaning that we don't do the signing and we don't do releases when we do the build. So we do the build on a safe environment that has no access to the signing and the private keys and the passwords. And then after we have everything validated, what we do is we push manually the zip files, which contain the artifacts, which do the signing keys, and put the passwords and then upload them to the right place. I mean, we don't do this manually. I mean, there is like an automated process to do all of this. But the trick here is that there is like a split between signing things and pushing things, between building things, right? Because when you're building stuff, you have like a lot of plugins, you have like code that is running that is not safe, which you can all leak your stuff.
Yeah, that's a good idea. I thought that was a few months ago you wrote that that article. Maybe I read it.
Maybe you read it. I mean, we wrote that like a few months ago, yes. And we rebuilt. We basically changes all of the release process to do that, and we are very happy with that because it pretty much removes any possibility of having of leaking passwords or leaking secrets or signing keys to the public, right? Especially because you have like a GitHub action. I mean, and we use GitHub to build our stuff as well. So you have actions over there that you don't know. I mean, you don't look into the code. You don't know what they're doing. I mean, you know that they're doing something that you ask them, but you don't know what they are not doing, right? So they can easily go and say, hey, please environment, give me the environment variables and I'll push them here to be my malevolous link so I can record them and have access to whatever environment you're doing this, right? And that's a very easy thing to do. So basically when we started to look into, and we discussed this for several months, and we got to the conclusion that the build environment can never be safe and can never be trusted, because there are so many things happening over there that, I mean, even a jar can just do that and you have no idea that that's actually happening.
I think it was on the Quarkus IO page in the blog
but
part, right?
Yeah, let me search that and okay. So I'm gonna post that here on the minutes.
Yeah, thank you, Roberto.
So
Also,
I mean, if we have, so just to conclude, if we have to redo our release process, that's, I mean, I'm saying that we should follow what we do exactly here, but I think we should take into consideration some of the things that we discovered when we were doing this, and maybe follow like a very similar approach.
I have taken a further look at the central staging, this plugin. From the reading of it, this is just talking about upload from the staging to central. This is pretty much to upload to central. You can do a manual upload or the automatic upload. by setting
Yes,
this
so,
parameter.
so for instance, and to give an example, right? That's one of the things that we will never trust, right? In the sense that someone can send a pull request over there, which like obfuscated code, which is gonna expose the signing keys, right? And you're never gonna pick that up, right? And then you use whatever new version of that plugin, which has that flaw, and bam, now you have your signing keys exposed, and now someone can just go and impersonate your jars, and you're done. So that's why we stopped doing, stop using all of that stuff. So I pasted the blog post that we did in the meeting minutes. So please have a look. But I really think that if we are to go and change the release process, we should go with something similar to this.
Would you like to do a prototype, Roberto, based on the small rise case study? And
Yeah, I
then
mean,
now
I
OpenAPI is trying to do a release, and then they were held up. Since you have experience with the release process in small array or Quarkus, maybe give it a go and to see how it lands, and then we can.
I mean, I can do that. I mean, setting up the process is not that difficult. The 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 the, the issue here is that I don't have access to the signing keys or the tokens that that Eclipse has. I mean, I can use my own account to generate the tokens to log into Central, but I don't have access to the signing keys, which are only on the CI environment. And
John,
and that's a problem.
so John, do you know who has the CI the keys?
Oh boy.
MicroProfile CI.
No, I mean it was initially set up by John Ament, right? Way
Yeah,
back when.
I'm not sure it's we have that keys or the Eclipse Foundation has that key.
Oh, that's a good point too. That's probably a question for Tabang.
Yeah, good point. So we will bring up, we should follow up with Taban offline to see, explain the situation. So we will need MicroProfile CI credential.
Now, in their case, to be able to fix I'll see if I can fix their problem easily with the current process. But the easiest way will be to have access to the CI credentials that are used by Eclipse to be able to log into Central and then approve the deployment, and that's it. That will be the easy way, and then we can work on moving the process to something else.
Okay.
I'll try to look into that and help.
Okay, thank you, Roberto. And then in the meanwhile, John and I will work with Taban to see whether who can help us to get hold of the credentials. Okay, that's a good conversation. Thank you. So the other thing, the second thing that Joanna and Emily will get together to work on ballots for the namespace choices. I don't know whether we are in a position to do that. Or do we need a further conversation, John? This is a prayer to a holiday, right?
Yeah, this is part of holiday. I mean, we have to restart this conversation, right? So David made his post about the Glassfish EE4J moving to its own project, and if he if that were to happen, he would change his vote from a -1 to a +1 in terms of moving over. That would probably put us over the top in terms of moving over, but that doesn't. I don't think that. No, we haven't asked him if that changes his vote on the namespace. From his perspective, the namespace issue, he was okay with the namespace change. So I know a lot of us are not. So
Yeah.
if we vote to move over, what is that? I would prefer to have a lot of these unanswered questions answered before we do a formal vote to move over. What happened on the platform call this morning? I brought up the point about David's email. I brought up David's email discussion. He's like, well, we were going to talk about that at the today's steering committee call, Jakarta steering committee call. And so my comment back was, well, these things need to be opened up. And the response to that was that the Eclipse, sorry, Jakarta EE steering committee has discussed opening up their steering committee call. Again, discussed. I don't know what the outcome is or the contents of that is, but they are taking our perspective seriously. Is the feedback that I've gotten. Jan, you have your hand up.
Yeah, there was an open steering committee call a while ago, I think 1 or 2 months ago, and yeah, I requested that we can open up the steering committee calls to guests, so we get insight. And it sounds like they were open and discussed that before. Maybe Emily can say more about that. But for that point, I don't know if everybody's on the picture. So David made that request that they might change their vote if Jakarta becomes vendor neutral from his perspective. And the point is that Glassfish still has a specific role, and he wants to extract that into a separate, the implementation part into a separate working group, and keep the specifications in the Jakarta working group only. And then there was discussion. A lot of people agree on the general approach, but creating a separate working group does not make sense for me and a lot of others too, because that's a lot of overhead, and all these implementations could be a simple open source project like Jetty is already on the Eclipse umbrella, and they only need to select a top level project. And I think that is doable. What was unclear so far for me, if these changes are requirements for the move of MicroProfile into Jakarta, or if they would accept if we do that in parallel, because all these things are already work in progress with the respect of Glassfish. Yeah, and then there were some details about how to proceed with budgets, raise the budget for Jakarta, move the part of the original Jakarta budget to that new working group. That is not necessary when this is a project only. The question is if there's infrastructure required by them and how they would cover these costs when that is not covered by the Eclipse Foundation, which I think is. Yeah, these are some details. So that's an interesting approach. But regarding the timing, there was some fear that, if we wait until everything is solved in Jakarta with that move of MicroProfile into Jakarta, then that can be take a long time. And I think, including me, this should be prevented. So we need to move forward, and what need to be done is, getting some clarification on that point regarding timing and when things must be done as a requirement or not. And depending on that, we need to focus on config first, because that's a requirement for Jakarta already for the next version, and that must be done. If we can solve the move by that approach, even better.
David create a charter proposal and also sent to the mailing list. However, he did not attend today's Jakarta EE steering committee call. I had hoped that he will join the Jakarta steering committee call to champion his idea, since he's not there and nobody from Tom Tribe was on the call either. We didn't discuss further because nobody is have a better idea than David himself to be able to champion his idea. That's where it lands for that proposal. Probably he can come to the next call and have that discussed. John, we do need to find out from David whether he's okay about namespace discussion and whether it's a +1.
I suspect he's going to remain. I suspect he's going to remain. He's okay with the namespace change.
Remain is okay.
Yes, meaning he would vote +1 on a namespace change or -1 on keeping it the same. But I mean, we could ask him.
Really? Okay. That's different from what I thought.
That was his original approach when we discussed that. Yeah.
In the Jakarta EE spec committee call last week, we also discussed the namespace. Since there's not many people on the call due to vacations, we didn't make any conclusion either. So it will be discussed again next week when people return back from vacation. So the few people, including myself, we would like to keep the Eclipse Funding specs process as flexible as possible. Anyway, I already said my opinion many times. So in summary, nothing being decided. And also in today's Jakarta platform call, because it's the first time after vacation, there's a lot of things to be discussed. There's no discussion about this topic, MicroProfile Jakarta merging. Hopefully, next week in the spec committee and also in the platform calls, we can have some more time to discuss this requirement as well. That's pretty much from me. Anything else people want to discuss further? Okay, if not, I think we can have, you can have 15 minutes back.
All right. Thank you, everyone.
Yeah. Thank you, everybody.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Bye.